Hi, I'm Aid from Morris Lubricants, and today I'm with our brand ambassadors, Dave Jenkins and Guy Martin. And we're in Dave Jenkins' workshop. Thanks, Dave, for hosting.
No problem.
And we want to talk about basically competition oils. So, first question, guys, is why do you use Morris Lubricants in your competition vehicles?
Yeah, where do you want me to start?
Oh, all right.
Well,
Pick your favourite.
I'm only.
I work back.
Yeah, just what I'm doing at this point in time. I'm sort of 5 years into the project now. My 300 mile an hour job.
Oh, of course.
So
yeah.
I don't know if any oil gets a harder time than it does in that.
Yeah.
That's under. Well, what do you want me? I mean, but I could talk until the cows come home about that. What do you want me to do?
I don't know, what about your racing days and your bike days or anything really?
Yeah, that's all boring stuff, that. That's all boring. That's interesting.
How do the lube serve you? Do they do well?
Yeah, well, like in a general motorbiking, the oils out under a lot of stress, really. You know, they're just naturally aspirated. You're not asking for, cylinder pressures you might be seeing 80, 90 bar, nothing massive, but something like this. What you're going to be seeing with this, like 220 bar or something. You know what I mean? Massive. And the sort of numbers I'm seeing with that, and maybe not in that league, but we'll be knocking on 200 bar when we're sort of squeezing. We're not squeezing as much boost as this, but we're squeezing like 3.3 bar of boost through it. But at that point, the limiting factor is the crankcases. I keep smashing crankcases.
How much power has that got now?
You can't really measure it. On a dyno, I can pull 2.4 bar of boost on a dyno, which works out like 750 horsepower. But in the real world, I've seen 3.3 bar, which is probably like 950 horsepower, something like that. Yeah, with that 500 foot-pound of torque, it's a lot of. It's all. The limiting factor is I was always lifting cylinder heads off, cylinder head, lifting blocks, and then I got sort of the ARP, maybe some studs and nuts. I use half-inch UNF to hold the whole block together, and that's mint now. I don't lift the head; I just lift the top of the crankcase off. So I smash the base of the. No. It smashes the crankcase. Yeah, so that's the limiting factor now, and that's that's why I've had a massive redesign.
Where have you lost engines, on the dyno or in real?
No, because you can't pull that amount of boost on the dyno. You can't hold it back enough on the dyno. In the real world, it will pull the boost. It will pull the boost when you're going down a runway, like a mile runway. Then you can see the big numbers, but you can't hold it back long enough on a dyno. I'll just find the limiting factor is the tyre against the roller on the dyno. Just spin the tyre on.
So you got your 300 mile an hour dream, and how close have you got so far?
Oh, I'm a million miles away. I've done 282 mile an hour, which sounds quite near, but I might as well be 500 mile an hour away. It's just a mile. It's a mile away.
I've done 282 mile an hour.
Yeah. Officially, that's unofficial, but unofficially, I've done 276. Unofficially, I've done 282.
Where did you do that at?
I did 276 at Cottlesmore, that was official, and then unofficially I went to Macrahanish and I did 282 at 4 o'clock on a Sunday morning. So
that hasn't stuck in your memory, has it?
No. I just know I've never been. I'm not saying scared. That's the most alive I have ever felt when trying to hold that thing. Hold on to that thing. I was seeing like 2.2 longitudinal G. You know what I mean? The numbers are massive. Everything to do with that is the numbers are mental. Like nothing like motorbikes, nothing like a normal motorbike. And that's why we sort of get like a normal motorbike could be boring. You know, the oils are not really under stress in a situation like going racing British Superbike or TT. It's not really that stressful on a motorbike. But something like that, we're pushing the boundaries in every area.
And what about the transmission on that? Is that standard?
No. I run a Quay 5-speed box, 3-dog box. It's bigger shafts. It's sort of standard engine in a way. Standard crankcase, standard cylinder head, but everything's modified. The gearbox is a standard architecture, but it's bigger shafts, bigger bearings, smaller, bigger dogs, like 3 dogs.
And the chain drive on that compared to like a superbike or something, is it the same, or you up on the chain side?
No, it's still fine. It's a slightly bigger pitch, 530 pitch, but we just use a Japanese drag racing chain rather than just a motorsport chain. But you rate them in horsepower, and I'm running a 1500 horsepower chain, EK chain.
And is that lifed or?
I just go on stretch. I have a measuring tool to go across it and measure it on the stretch. But generally, the limiting factor, the fuse would generally be tyre to the tarmac or wheel in the tyre. It spins the wheel in the tyre. No way. But that's sort of a normal thing. But you always want the slip in a controllable place. It's nice if it is the tyre to the tarmac. But if you're slipping, if we're seeing wheel spin, then obviously you're not going forward. It's spinning the tyre. So there's a sweet spot, and it's a tyre pressure, tyre temperature. It's really a sweet spot. Trying to get 85 degrees at the tyre. Sort of low enough, 1.6 bar in the back. It's just everything's.
And what sort of road speed are you doing when that thing's got wheel spin? Anywhere?
No, you generally see. I see, like a conventional motorbike could see the most longitudinal G between, like a Grand Prix bike, between 60 and 80 mile an hour. 60 and 80, they'd see like 0.8 of a G, just short of a 1 G. Right, and at that sort of speed, I'm not really seeing any more than that because I can't put the boost in, I can't bring the throttle in because. So I'd probably a Grand Prix bike compared to that would probably beat me to 100 mile an hour because I just can't get the power down, I can't get the torque, I can't. So, but once I've like 150 to 120 to 150, that's where I'd see the big numbers. I'd see sort of 2.2 longitudinal G. You know what I mean? That's when I can sort of let it go. I can sort of let it go.
That's when you're stretching your arms.
Yeah, in the numbers, and that's why there's so much adaptation with that bike. How I've got all of the levers. Like the lever on the left-hand handlebar isn't the clutch, that's the back brake. Because I'm under so much longitudinal G, I can't, and I sort of try and control the throttle with the back brake. Because as soon as you try and back sort of 2% out the throttle, it's a little bit of compromise with the boost, and as soon as I want it back, the boost isn't instant. So if I can try and hold if I can try and hold the acceleration back on the back brake, it's more manageable. And then when everything's set, I'll just release the back brake and then it goes. But trying to hold that 5.5 foot-pound of torque back on a back brake just destroys back brake disc. So yeah, that's another. But I could talk until the cows come home. So now I have the left hand control is the back brake, and then the clutch is on the thumb. But I've been loads of different combinations. I had the clutch on the right hand back brake pedal, and it just trying to get everything. I couldn't really get things to work. And I've been down the road.
You have to have a word with yourself, think about what you're pulling and what you're pressing next. That's the trouble.
Just labelled up.
I went to an automatic clutch. All American drag racers use an automatic drag racing clutch called a slider clutch. Yeah. But the ratio that they're pulling doesn't really work for mile racing because they're only seeing like 200 mile an hour. Well, I'm trying to pull, I'm like 21-35 gearing, which is amazing. For a motorbike, it's massive gearing. So that's geared for 307 mile an hour at 11,500 RPM. So those clutches are great when you're only doing 200 mile an hour, but when you're trying to push to 300 mile an hour, the ratio difference just fries the clutch, and I couldn't get it to work. So there's just so much time.
When are you going to have some more time to have another concentrated effort?
Make it a wiring though. We've completely redesigned the bike. I could talk to the cows. I'd sort of exhausted every avenue. And when I did 282 mile an hour, I never used full throttle at 282 mile. The bikes are so unpredictable. They're influenced by everything outside of my control, whether it's a thermal. That's why I try and go early in the morning, because as soon as the sun's come up and the sun warms the tarmac, you get these unpredictable thermals that you can't account for. So I came back from Macranish, me and my dad went up there and we was out on the runway. A load of boys helped us up there, it was great. And we did 282 mile an hour, which is great, but I never used full throttle once because the bike was so unpredictable. I had my toe down in a straight line at 250 mile an hour, trying to keep the thing in a straight line. So I just thought this isn't sustainable from that point on. So this was 3 years ago. From that point on, I ran the bike semi-naked because I make all this torque and horsepower that I can't really deal with. So I thought, right, because my coefficient of drag was like point. Do you want me to talk about all this? I mean, I've bored you to death, mate. Like, they had like 0.35 coefficient of drag, which is amazing drag. But the bike, when you've got such a low coefficient of drag and the centre of gravity is sort of where a road bike was, the bike's so unpredictable. You know what I mean? Like we was at Macranish and you can probably see 50 wind turbines from there. Not one wind turbine was turning, right? So the day was that calm. But the bike was so unpredictable. And anyone that's any good at this is dead. Right, because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to do the same thing. So now I've had a massive read down. I've got 100 mil out of the bike, drop the bike down, and then my goal really for this year is to run that bike naked as it sort of sits there, run it like that, and I need to do 270. If I can do 270 with the bike in that state, right, then I've got something that's going to work. Right, let's fair it. Let's put a full fairing on it, and that's where the expense will be. Is getting the moulds made, getting the fairing done, getting all the CFD work done beforehand to make sure it's going to work and going to be stable and not create any lift or any downfalls.
Have you got somebody on your CFD job at the moment?
No, not a minute, because before I go down that road, I want to prove that that's going to work. I want to do sort of 270 with it, 270, because there's naked bike records, and that's not me being naked, it's the bike being naked, and then there's, I think an American holds it, a lad called, there's only a few boys at it now, because everyone's dead, really. Bill Warner was the man. I've got a picture of his, he was a tropical fish farmer from Florida, that's what he was, and he was mad into it, and he sort of unofficially, he has gone the fastest in the world, but he's dead now. He did do 300 in a mile and a half unofficially, and then he tried to do it in a mile and got killed. So I'm just everyone that's dead has all tried the same sort of thing. So this is why I'm saying I'm trying to get a bit of technology from the drag racing world because no one's really adapting drag racing stuff, even though it's a completely different discipline. You'd think, well, we're on the drag racing down a mile, but it's not because we're not on a prep track. It changes everything. So I'm just trying to learn a bit from those boys, a bit from the car world, a bit from this, a bit from that, a bit from the tractor world, and then hopefully we'll get the job done. The turbos, they're not under. I mean, how long are your races?
15 minutes.
Yeah. So see, I suppose is all of the temperatures they're increasing all the way through the race?
No, they stabilise.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. No, it's okay. They will go longer. Your qualifying performance is best when everything's cold straight away.
Yeah.
You know.
And what's that tyre temperature? And brake temperature?
It's everything. Well, so the brake temperature is managed with the water cooling.
Yeah.
The tyre temperature you manage, as a driver.
Okay.
But then you get the heat soaked through from the brakes into the tyres, so then you can't control
I see
that.
you've got these foil guards in there. I thought that was to keep heating the brakes.
No, it's to stop the water from coming through onto the outside of the tyres. That's all.
Right.
And then, but the big thing with this is the charge cooling temperature. So that needs to be known.
That's the numbers.
So the target is no more than 10 to 15 degrees above ambient. So we need.
And what temperature is it leaving the turbo?
I don't know what it leaves the turbo at, but by the time it's been through the intercooler and the water's been, because we've got a constant loss.
So you're externally spraying water onto the
intercooler, yeah.
Okay.
To try and get no more than sort of 40 degrees by the time it goes back round.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah. And as soon as it sees more than 50 degrees there, the engine goes into D-rate anyhow.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, at 50 degrees. Bloody hell.
So that's critical.
Yeah.
And it gets critical when you get in traffic then as well, especially on a hot day.
Of course. So you try and be at the front.
Yeah.
It's all right for you. You know what you're doing.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Some days.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. Yeah. Yeah, so that bloody thing of mine, I could talk until the cows come home. So I've had a big redesign, lowered it all down, and hopefully I'm going to run it naked this year.
Excellent.
Just waiting for my mate making me a wiring loom, and then, just do some learning. Learning. I'm not going to do 300 this year, but hopefully we can prove a point, prove that my idea is going to work. We've got massive, I don't know if you know that rake and trail numbers, I've got like 220mm trail. So it's massive to try and get the bike down, because the limiting factor was the top of the tyre foul in the bottom of the yoke. So we've moved everything about, rejigged all the bike, dry sump them, sort of dry sump, put like a semi-dry sump on a motor, get everything down. So the limiting factor now is the turbo on the ground. So yeah, we'll see.
So work in progress still, guy, yeah?
Yeah, but that's what, to be honest, this is what we love. It's the fannying about in a shed, a man in a shed fannying about. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's what it's only the same for you.
It is only the same.
Brilliant.
Eh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tidy. Right, guys, well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks for your input.
Sounds.
Appreciate your feedback and your overviews of your different racing disciplines. So thank you very much. And I think that brings this episode to an end. So thanks so much, guys.
Cheers,
Thank you for your support.
Get a cup of tea.